Okay, so I think we're just on the 2:30 mark. Maybe we'll get going. So I'd just like to welcome everybody to this presentation on UCD Online Collaborative Journey to Improve Customer Journeys. And I'll hand over to and welcome Lisa Flannery, UCD Marketing Manager, and her team. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much,
Lisa,
Josephine.
thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We'd like to take hopefully just under 20 minutes to tell you a little bit about the background of a recent refresh of the UCD Online and why we've done that and how we collaborated across the university to achieve it. So speaking this afternoon will be myself, Lisa Flannery, UCD Marketing Manager, Niamh Boyle, UCD Marketing Manager, and Cillian Motherway, UCD Marketing Executive. We're also supported in this project by our Director, Ailish O'Brien. So on to the next slide, and possibly we'll give you a very brief background in case there's some people who aren't familiar with UCD Online. We'll outline how we collaborated to achieve the goals we set out, and we'll give some brief learnings and next steps. So we might skip, Cillian, to the one with the image, which is just the next one. Thank you. So for those of you not familiar with UCD Online, it was established in 2013 as a website which listed at that stage about 9 graduate programs which are fully accredited UCD programs taught through online learning. The creation of the website was sponsored at the time by the College of Science, and in recent years the central admin and IT support wasn't kept up, which meant that the site had become out of date. It was the responsibility of schools which had courses on it to maintain their own pages. So the site was out of date and it wasn't mobile optimized. However, we felt there was an opportunity to bring it forward. So why did we, on the next slide, we'll talk about why did we rebuild UCD Online. So around the middle of next year, it became really clear, apart from the fact that the site was in need of modernization, much of the content was out of date, so it didn't fully reflect the available programs from UCD through online learning, and it wasn't optimized for mobile. But perhaps most importantly, there was clear growth potential in this space for fully accredited quality UCD online programs, particularly in a post-COVID-19 environment. A lot of the programs were doing really well already in terms of applications and inquiries, despite a dated website. So we felt we should really give that the support so that UCD could act and behave as a quality provider and for the customer experience to be at the same level of quality as the teaching was. However, with that being said, elements of the site actually were functioning really, really well, and there were things that we could build upon. 7 of the courses that existed on UCD Online also had a presence on the updated UCD graduate admissions website, or what we call a SysWeb page. And on average, those UCD Online course pages had twice the amount of visits as their equivalent pages on SysWeb, most likely because they were more easy to discover. If you can imagine you're searching for an online course, a lot of the keywords that you use were more likely to pull the UCD Online course page up to the top of your search results than perhaps it was to find them through the graduate admissions site. Really, really strong organic search performance. And the environment of the website and all of the detail about the quality of online learning was perhaps bolstering that and leading to the fact that there were very strong inquiries coming through the website as well. So these were really good things to build on, and we didn't want to lose them. So we created a number of goals that we set out to achieve. Now, this was in a time frame between late summer last year and November when the site went live. So we had 4 goals that we'll talk through a little bit more, but it's fair to say on the next slide that we couldn't have achieved these goals within that time frame without early and sustained collaboration. And there's a number of people we really want to thank this afternoon for their collaboration and support. So in the center of the university relations team, it was primarily the 3 of us who you'll see this afternoon, supported by our director, Ailish O'Brien. And our key collaborators were the IT services web team, with particular thanks to Brian Kane, who's here this afternoon. Thank you, Brian, and Mark Land, who are probably sick of the sight of us by November. We spent a lot of time through Zoom working through things with them. And of course, the schools who had courses listed on the site, some who already had and some who are coming new to the site. We particularly worked with the course directors and lead administrators in the schools with some support from the college or school marketing managers. And we also worked with UCD Registry, Curriculum Development and Graduate Admissions, and 2 external suppliers, a web supplier and an advertising supplier. So on the next slide, we'll show you what a kind of a schematic of our process of collaboration. It is definitely fair to say that this is an oversimplification. It looks really nice and neat and linear, whereas in real life, it was a little bit more looping back and forward than that. But I suppose, again, importantly, we'd like to show that at each stage in the journey, we had quite deep and ongoing collaboration with each of these other groups of people with whom none of these goals could have been achieved. So starting with the first goal, we needed to make sure that the website had a very accurate course list, and that list was in keeping with what people were finding on graduate admissions. So with thank you to Caroline Barrett and her team in curriculum development, and Susan McAlinden from UCD Student Recruitment Graduate Admissions, as well as the schools and some of the marketing managers, we were confident that our list was accurate, verified, and cross-checked. And now when somebody goes on to graduate admissions and ticks a new box that Sue added to that list there, the list of courses that are showing up for UCD Online are absolutely consistent with what you're getting on the website. So once that was achieved, our next goal was to improve UX, which is short for user experience, and to shape customer journeys. And the sub-challenges within this goal were to simplify and make the content a lot more intuitive, to aid users' navigation throughout the site, to bring them on to the next point of their journey within the UCD website, which required integration with SysWeb, to support the driving of inquiries, and critically to make the site mobile responsive and mobile first, really we called it. So how do we do those things? In terms of content simplification, we really took out a machete and culled the number of pages throughout the site. There was quite a bit of repetition and information that didn't need to be there. So we focused on what information was going to really get across the key selling messages of the quality of teaching at UCD. We also stripped back the number of text on pages throughout across the board, and moved a lot of content into the FAQs, which is actually where students often prepare to find it anyway. And we've spoke about being mobile first. So what you're seeing on this slide here is finished mobile designs. But before anything was designed, the structure of each and every page was really critically examined in terms of what needs to go where to help a user's journey to flow in a mobile first way of interacting, because particularly among a prospective student audience, we would expect at least 50% of traffic to be starting on mobile. We also looked at course discovery, simplifying the menu. We had a new mega menu experience, and we added an A to Z to the course listing page menu to future-proof it, because we are expecting the site and the number of programs on it to evolve and grow over the coming years. The next challenge was a particularly significant one and required quite a lot of debate and workshops with our colleagues in IT services and the web company as well. And that's in terms of what is the role of the course pages on UCD Online in line with what is the role of the course pages on their graduate admissions site. Now, it might have been really, really tempting to simply lift and shift or replicate the exact same information from one to the other, but actually that wouldn't be good practice. It's not good practice for the university. The search engines would actually punish us for it, and it wouldn't help support findability of either of those pages, and for the user as well. That's not the best experience. So in the end, we conceptualized the course pages on UCD Online as landing pages or a shop window for each course, with the smallest amount of really coherent, punchy introductory information to that course that could help then bring the student on to the next point in their journey. And on the next slide now, we'll show you just in practice 2 mobile screens, which are sections of a course page. So the first one on your left, you can see one of the really important things we did in this shop window way of looking at it was to really clearly spell out what are the different levels at which you can study that course. For example, MSc, Grad Dip, or Grad Cert. And from then you can immediately transition through to the correct SysWeb page for that level at which you wish to study. So you can find out about entry requirements, modules, and so forth, and guide you on that journey really accurately. However, if a student came onto the page, if you wouldn't mind just flicking back for one sec, Cillian, sorry, and we're absolutely ready to inquire or to apply, our navigation guided them to take those steps as well. And the inquire buttons, both on the course pages and elsewhere on the site, were fully integrated with SysWeb, meaning that the administrator who is receiving inquiries will get them straight away and be able to count them and reply to them. So we're ready for the next one. Thanks, Cillian. So as we moved out of site development and towards launch, a final big challenge was that of design. And really what we were trying to achieve here was to bring the site into the modern era, to make it attractive and user-friendly, but not to reinvent the wheel of existing UCD templates in the T4 environment. Again, we collaborated closely with IT services to get that balance right. And we're happy that we built upon existing templates, created a few new ones to make the site look impactful, and to have new resources and templates available for other colleagues across UCD as they move into updating their own websites. So the next slide will just show you the homepage, which is just one example, obviously, of pages across the site which are user-friendly and attractive, but which are really hitting our key goals of reinforcing the quality and the accreditation of these programs at UCD. So now that the site was ready to launch, that moved us forward to our fourth challenge, and I'll hand over now to Niamh to speak about that one.
Thanks, Lisa. So as Lisa was saying there, we were at the stage then where we were able to begin to plan a pilot advertising campaign. We used what we would call for this a push and pull approach. So firstly, due to the increase in searches for online courses in the period leading up to us redesigning the site, we knew the importance of including a general search campaign, and this is what we're calling the pull approach. So this would complement the strong organic search, appealing to those who are expressing an interest in this type of study and these type of courses through their search behavior. We then focused on our online courses with January start dates and added them into the mix for this search campaign. So from January onwards, I think we might be a small lag there. So this is what we had done kind of leading up to January. And those courses there were the ones with the January start date. And then after that, so from January onwards, we continued with this search campaign and added a selection of other courses, now focusing on the September 2021 enrollment. We added what we're calling then a push element to the campaign via other ad formats and platforms. We had held off until this time to introduce this element to avoid confusion among prospective students. By that time, UCD had completed a full trimester of blended learning, and the risk of confusion between our on-campus courses having to be taught virtually due to the pandemic and having a clear distinction between these established online courses was key for us. So the time was now right to start the next phase of the campaign. And if we could show now, so these were examples of some of the display ads that ran across, say, the Google ad network, including search, display, YouTube. And then these are an example of course-specific ads that appear on Facebook and Instagram. And these are the individual frames of a digital display ad that, again, would be displayed across various sites that our users, our prospective students are interacting with. So these might give you a flavour for the type of advertising that we're using to promote UCD Online and its courses. And I will now hand you over to Cillian, who will run through the initial traffic results on the new and improved site.
Thank you, Niamh. Yes, so these results, just to note that this analysis is based on results from November until the end of February. So naturally, this is some distance away from seeing the impact on September 21 admissions, but hopefully, as Niamh mentioned, it gives you a flavour of how things have been going so far. So what we can see, one of the key KPIs for any website is, of course, the traffic that we're generating to the site. And we're very pleased to see there's been a strong uplift in terms of visits with significant increases in the months of January and February when we had added additional advertising support to our campaign to date, as Niamh had touched upon. This overall translates into around 173% increase in terms of visitors. So it highlights that the advertising campaign is indeed proving to be effective. And as well as that, the number of visits per user has increased by 18%. And so what we're seeing is that people are coming back to the website more often and more people are coming to the website more often. But as well as that, so what are they doing on the website? They've actually been able to take advantage of the improved UX. So We've reduced the number of pages that the visitors have gone to, and we've reduced the average time that people are spending on the site, which means that prospective students are finding the site faster. They're able to navigate around the site faster and then move on to the next stage of their journey, be it submitting an inquiry or learning more about the course in SysWeb as well. One of the key reasons for this improved user experience is the fact that, as Lisa touched upon earlier, one of the key focuses was to optimize the site for mobile users. And you can see here the impact that has had in terms of people accessing the site through mobile, and that has contributed to the really strong user experience results as well. Finally, we have some feedback from the schools, and we feel this is an important reflection, I guess, of the collaboration that we've had across the university with our different partners that Lisa has mentioned. So our important collaborators, our colleagues from the school, were the first to see the new site at the point of going live, and here's some of their feedback. So with that said, I'm going to pass you back now to Lisa to finish out the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Cillian. So just in summary, I suppose, as Cillian said, it's still very early days. The site has only been live since the start of November, but our team are very glad to see such positive initial results since the site upgrade, with more prospective students visiting the site and engaging with the content. And the ad campaign has clearly been a key driver to that. And as time moves on between now and September, we will be refining our targeting and using our learnings to optimize that advertising support. As you can imagine, we're in constant dialogue with the schools in terms of patterns in relation to inquiries and applications. It's certainly too early in the cycle to see a big impact on applications, but we are hearing from the schools that the quality of inquiries, and in some cases the volume of inquiries, has significantly improved since this new format of the site. We have scheduled to review the list of courses included on the site for the 2021-22 cycle. So we'll be working with curriculum development team and registry again during mid-summer to ensure that our list is accurate. And again, we'll be going through the cycle to make sure that the content and the integration of all of that course content is ready for a new cycle. And in case there was any doubt, UCD University Relations will continue to support the site. And again, Niamh and Cillian and I and Ailish just really wanted to take the opportunity again to thank all of the collaborators who helped us over what was a hectic few months to get the new site up and running and to be able to support these programs, which we really believe have a huge amount of potential for 21-22 and beyond. So thanks again to all of the collaborators. And now we're open for questions if anyone has questions for any of us. Thank you very much.
I'll mute myself, and thank you very much, Lisa, and everyone. That was really great. So yeah, please feel free to either pop something in the chat, or because there's such a small group of us, feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to shout out a question as well.
People are being shy. That's absolutely fine.
Yes, absolutely. It just struck me actually, Lisa, that there was a huge amount of collaboration involved in this project. So I'm just wondering, have you any reflections on how that worked? You know, you did it remotely. So is there anything you think about?
Yeah, well, in some ways, I think, you know, we definitely had Zoom fatigue, it's fair to say, at certain points, particularly in October and November. However, the flexibility of being able to jump on Zoom, particularly for such a digitally heavy project where people would be sharing screens and showing different things, did mean we could respond very quickly and sort of grab a quick huddle with somebody to thrash out a problem for maybe 20 minutes in an afternoon. Whereas in general campus life, we might have needed to plan a meeting. So in some ways, it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, that's interesting. And there's a question there from Mary. She's asking, do you think the upswing in numbers was due to the pandemic, and will the momentum continue?
Well, interestingly, we had a workshop yesterday with, I won't say who, but with one of the big tech companies, and they mentioned to us that there has been an upsurge in interest in online courses throughout Europe and indeed the world. So we would expect to see more of that, but we're not sure that if the behavior will revert backwards. So we think it's really important to continue to support the site to allow it to grow. Sorry, Niamh, I think you wanted to come in there.
No, I totally agree with what you're saying there, Lisa, as well. And I think we found as well that, again, not naming particular courses that are available through the site, but ones that were particularly strong prior to the pandemic, they're actually experienced a positive upswing with the new and improved site as well. And not to say exact figures, but they have seen double the amount of inquiries and double the amount of applications as well in just that short space of time since the new site has been live. I think, I know Josephine, we were speaking about it earlier, just the change in people's behaviours now, that, you know, it literally is practically a year to the day since we all started working from home. And the fact that many of us had never even interacted with Zoom before, people are now seeing the benefits of, I think there's going to be a lot of hybrid approaches as well. So like we've had contact from a number of colleagues across the university who are now seeing that there's courses of theirs who they were considering possibly beforehand, not converting or adapting to online, and we now will be kind of supporting that going forward as well. So I think it's just the new way of working, so that on campus, obviously, it works for a lot of people, but online might be the way to go for others. So we obviously, as UCD, want to be adaptable and to have that approach available for all students.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you. And then there's a question in from Ricky asking, who do inquiries go to? Who should we contact to add a new online course?
Oh, thank you very much, Ricky. You kind of prompted me to say, if there's anybody in this virtual room who's interested in getting involved, we would love to hear from you. I suppose in the first instance, any courses would need to be fully registered UCD courses on SysWeb. So the curriculum development team would have a hand in making sure that they exist in the first place, and that they count as an online program, because obviously there's a lot of programs that are blended at the moment. So there's just a little bit of definition to happen there, but you can contact myself, Niamh, or Cillian, and we can talk you through that at any stage. We'd be very happy to. We will be, as we said, reviewing all the courses in the summer and preparing a new set to be listed on the course for 21 on the site for 21-22. However, if somebody knows already that they're likely to be in that category, we'd love to hear from you sooner so that we can begin to support you earlier. Thank you.
And sorry, just the inquiries. Where do they go?
Thank you. So the inquiries go to the same person that an inquiry through SysWeb would go to. So it's fed through the back end, and it's linked to the SysWeb. So it's the exact same person that an inquiry goes to. In most cases, it's the course administrator.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Any other questions there from anybody? Seems quiet. And you probably know at this stage now that we're obviously using Currents to continue the conversation. So I'll just put a link to Currents in there, so you're aware where to pop into. If you think of anything after the session, feel free to go into Google Currents and pop in a question there, and we can make sure Lisa, Niamh and Cillian see that. So otherwise, I think we're nearly at the time. So unless there are any other questions, I think I will just say thank you very much